Hi and welcome to this video. My summer break is about to start, the second half of 2022 is about to start, and I've been itching to do some language learning again. I feel like I finally have the time and resources to incorporate a bit of language learning into my life again, and I'm so excited. Before we get into what I plan on doing over the summer though, I want to take a few minutes to talk about the bigger picture with language learning for me. I think languages are fascinating. The whole process of communication, the fact that we can learn to communicate in these other languages that have completely different grammatical structures, that have sounds that don't exist in our native languages, and the fact that we can still somehow make sense of these things is just mind-blowing to me. That being said, languages aren't just cool, they also open up a completely new world to you. They make literally places accessible that might have been inaccessible to you otherwise. It lets you learn more about different parts of the world, and you can get to know people from a completely different side. I've also at the same time always been fascinated with people that just effortlessly handle and navigate multilingual environments with such a grace when they speak a foreign language, and yet at the same time they stay so humble and encouraging towards other learners. I'm not talking about people that just upload a 3-second clip of them speaking like 2 words and then brag about how good they are at a language. And I'm also not talking about people that, just generally feel like they always have to have one up on you. They always need to show that they're the best learner there is in the conversation. I'm talking about people that just mesmerized me with how effortlessly they can talk in so many different languages, and that are just so welcoming and encouraging for you to do the same, that just encourage other learners to make mistakes and to inspire them to get better. People that don't make every encounter a competition of who knows the coolest words and who can string together the longest sentences. And I aspire to be a person like that one day, where I will hopefully find myself in an environment where I get to speak more than one language, and I think to myself, wow, this is vibes. And to hopefully also be encouraging and to be inspiring towards other people, and to make other learners feel comfortable expressing themselves around me. Contrary to popular belief, I don't think that you need to know the most fancy words or the most fancy grammar structures. I think it is first and foremost a mindset or a personality trait maybe. And obviously you need to know the language to a certain extent, but you know what I mean, right? I don't need to explain to you that you don't have to be a douche about knowing the language better than someone else, right? But anyway, so I want to get better at my languages. I want to feel comfortable speaking them, and I want to be hopefully someone that encourages and inspires other learners to be the same way. Which brings me to my 18-month long plan. I talked about this in my previous video a little bit, about how we tend to overestimate what we can do in the short term and how we underestimate what we can do in the long term. So while, there's only so much I can do in a 3 months long summer break, if we just add a little more time and a little more time, then before you know it, so much time has passed, and in that time, so much can happen. So by the end of 2024, which will be 18 months from now, I want to be able to speak obviously German, English, and then also Japanese, Spanish, and Dutch, and potentially one other language, but that would be more of a dabble kind of thing. And now that might sound like a lot, but you have to remember I already know all those languages to varying degrees. For Japanese, it would only require me to rustify it a little bit, because I already speak it to a decent level. For Spanish, I had at one point already reached a B1-ish level, and for Dutch, I am already pretty good at reading, I just don't know how to speak. With that in mind, I came up with a plan for the next year and a half broken down into quarters, and I know it's a bit hard to plan for such a long amount of time, but just think of it as an initial orientation, what I kind of want to do. Spanish is my worst language, so it will probably require the most amount of time and effort. Since I have studied it before, but it has been a while, I unfortunately fall into the false beginner category. This stage is really annoying because you sometimes still remember things that aren't even at the beginner level anymore, but you might have forgotten things that are very, very basic. This means that I will first have to assess where I'm kind of at with my remaining knowledge, and then I will have to go from there. First review the things that I once knew but kind of don't know anymore, and then build from there. I made a whole video about how to deal with this false beginner stage, so feel free to check that out. I'll be working with this textbook that I still have from when I was taking Spanish classes, and then I'll probably do some listening practice with Dreaming Spanish, as well as some reading practice with the Magic Treehouse. Japanese is more of a slow and steady kind of thing because I already know the language to a pretty decent level. It is more about learning more vocabulary, and acquiring that through reading is just gonna be a bit of a longer process. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll just be reading and being really deliberate with my reading. The other thing is that I would like to get my spoken fluency back, so there'll be some kind of spoken practice incorporated back into my life. But I don't know what that will look like yet. For anyone wondering what happened to the JLPT, I have to admit that I overestimated myself and in the end decided to not take the test. I basically didn't study, and the pressure of having to study made me not want to study even more. So I decided that in the end, there's really no point taking a day out of my life to take a test that I had no chance of passing anyways, especially since I have a way more important exam coming up literally 2 days after the JLPT. I'm a little sad about my 60 euros, but it is what it is. There's always a next time, I guess, and then hopefully with a bit more preparation. Funnily enough though, the moment that I decided that I wasn't gonna go, I just felt this relief, this pressure off my chest. So that was Japanese. On to Dutch. As I said, my Dutch reading is completely cracked. All that's missing really is speaking practice. But I mean from the ground up. I have to completely learn how to even pronounce words, how the Dutch language kind of is supposed to sound like, how to form sentences, and then how to speak in a nice way. I don't think I'll start this process yet because I feel like I want the Dutch learning process to be in one big chunk where I want to dedicate a lot of time at once to get my Dutch to that level, to catch my speaking up to my reading, and I don't want to do that right now. Right now I'm very excited about learning Spanish again, and I think Dutch will be more of a summer 2024 kind of project. Okay, just to summarize, I guess, for the a bit shorter term goals. For this upcoming quarter, July, August, September, for Spanish, I will take the Refold Spanish Assessment Test to kind of get an idea where my vocabulary is at. I will work through chapter 1 to 10 of the textbook because that is what I had previously worked through already, just to get myself back to where I was before. I will also make an effort to consistently read the Magic Treehouse, also for pronunciation practice, and then hopefully work my way up to a point where I can read Atomic Habits, maybe sometime during the end of this quarter. As a bonus, I will say that I might have a look at a few of the last 8 chapters of this textbook, but no promises. All the studying should add up to about 20 to 25 hours every month, so that is on average 40 to 50 minutes a day, which I think is a really good amount. I am really excited about this upcoming summer break, and I'm so excited to hopefully finally make an effort again to incorporate language learning into my life, to be a language learner that, actually learns language, not only the theory, but also the actual language. And I hope I can inspire and encourage others along the way. Let me know what your Q3 goals are, if you have any goals for the upcoming quarter, for the second half of 2023. I'd be super curious to hear them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.